is Steph Curry? Oh, he's 6'2"? Never mind. Okay, Pays is a shorty. Yeah, that guy's a short king. He is not reaching 6'2" on Steph. So
there's the Leona that we've seen garner some ban prio. I know you would have much rather seen Moham on it last game. You're going to get it this game. The Misfortune Leona combo cannot come across thanks to good old-fashioned Fearless. And now we get to see if we do lean towards those team fight 80 carries.
Most people might be like, and myself included, are going to be seeing like, oh, first pick Leona. Why is this happening? Well, you look at the support pool right now. Braum, Alistar, Rel, and Rakan are gone. So all of your engaged supports, sans maybe like a Nautilus that we've been seeing in Tier 1 for so long, are already gone. And those are the champions that you're looking for to kind of say, hey, look, like in a full Fearless, the economy of engaged support is incredibly pinched. All of these champions are not available, guys.
I was going to say, you can't pick any of these.
You can play Nautilus. You can play Renata. I think Poppy is still great. You have that flex pick for jungle and top. I think that would actually be a great pick, but instead going for the Nautilus Jinx, which isn't a great pairing, but can definitely set up for some dives if we're going to be seeing them.
And Nautilus can certainly play the protector role decently well, right? The
Sure.
dredge lines can interrupt. You got the roots, the depth charge, all can buy space here for Pays. As we get the classic Nocturne Orianna combo. It's been kind of ill-forgotten in the new season, mainly because there's some more fun Nocturne pairings. Everybody was really high on the Aurora Nocturne combo, but this is the tried and true of these two champions for so many years.
That was also because Aurora had the stun on her ult. That was the big one, but yeah, not being able to see where the walls were a pretty big one. We've seen some really terrible Nocturne combos in the league so far, so glad to see we're pairing it up with the old boo in Orianna. So JDG now picking up the Mbessa, which in the early game shouldn't be able to gain mid priority, but as we get further into a game, in the side lane, I think is going to be particularly potent here. So we'll see what JDG is able to do. Also, Mbessa a flex between our two solo laners here. So on the back end of this draft, 80 carries that I'm going to be looking for are going to be some of the stronger laners, someone that can deal with something like a Jinx. You still have Caitlyn that is available. I wonder if we're going to try and match scaling for scaling. We haven't seen a Felios in a long time, but one of Starry's most played. Also, Xayah still up and ready to go for either of these teams, or for the OMG.
I'm interested to see how aggressive Scout gets on this Mbessa pick. Could see him kind of just try and hands diff Linfeng with his own sauce once he has access to all of his spells. Yone ban still being thrown over, so OMG definitely are worried that Ala might take the Mbessa top, but doubling down on that much damage and potent AD damage specifically in the lanes, it would be really aggressive. As we see the Kindred ban. Wow, that's just raw damage bans coming through for OMG. All five of their bans.
They do not want Chun to pick up this Kindred game. Against Nocturne, it is a very tough matchup very early on. She can kind of, Kindred can jump in between the walls. It's very difficult to find the 2v2. Xin Zhao's no longer available, so
man, we're just hovering.
I love these hovers. It was so funny. Wukong, the champion that we talked at the very beginning of Game 1, like, where is this champion? Why are we not seeing more of him? His skirmishing is incredibly strong. Obviously, we know all about his team fighting, so to see him all the way dropped to Game 3 is, I think, very surprising. And now JDG are going to need a very big burst mage from the AP department. And so I wonder what they're going to be looking towards from the side of, I mean, there's not many top tanks that are going to be playing AP. Maybe you can go for AP Gragas, but yeah, I don't know.
Luckily, not too many punishing tanks on the side of OMG, so I don't hate it. Even if the Nocturne goes like a bit more bruiser, he's not building really any armor, and Leona needs a lot of time to be very tanky. The Maokai pick might be pretty pivotal. We know that Harry has turned to this before. Or is it Ulla that's played this? One of these two top players have played this in their last series.
This is going to be Harry and Hung. Both of them have actually been able to pick this up. So what is the top lane tank here? Please don't say it's Galio. You have no... So, okay, in all fairness, OMG will not have... I mean, they can build a bunch of armor, but, I mean, really it's going to be on Leona and Moham. JDG, what is your pick here? You're picking Galio. So
Scout
magic damage is pretty low.
So, Scout Galio into the Orianna.
Yeah, okay. It's not perfect. I'll be honest, Slayer. I mean, there's a few redeeming factors. Wukong has Armor Crush, so that is a thing to be able to help, but Yeah, I'm looking at this. Linfeng can pick up a Zonias. You're feeling good about that. Harry can build every single tank item under the sun, and you are mad chilling. I think a Frozen Heart actually is a bit of a banger here for someone like Moham if you can afford it. We'll see. I think this is a tough draft for JDG, but they can all really clump on top of this Jinx and protect her from a Nocturne Orianna combo.
Lot of onus on this Ambessa for Ulla and Shun's Wukong to try and get towards this Xayah as well. The Nocturne and the Orianna, even after she throws her ball out, because like you called out, Leona and Maokai are going to do a pretty good job at denying a ton of damage. And it's important to mention that we are playing a reset comp here. There's a lot of flashy picks with the Ambessa, the Wukong, but you are still setting up pays. Whenever you pick Jinx, your comp is relying around getting a reset and then just running the fight. And if this Jinx doesn't get any damage towards that backline to help, it's going to take a long time to burn through the tree, burn through the Sun Goddess Leona herself. So there are pressure points for honestly both these teams to cause problems once we get to those fights that we hyped up. We're coming once we got this deep into the Fearless draft.
My issue with this OMG draft as we get into this game is they will need to make sure that Hung and Linfeng have enough damage. Because suddenly now with the Nocturne Orianna, they're going to be diving into this backline. So is Maokai. So is Leona. Where is Xayah? Xayah is going to have to move her little Vistayan feet all the way over to this fight, plant her feathers for a team that is what I'm assuming is going to be retreating. Hey, get this banner out of the way. We're missing out on flashes. Hey. Hung has already lost a summoner spell early on into this game.
Level 1 shenanigans continue for a third game. But this time, I think with that flash down, OMG can't get too crafty with trying to force certain jungle paths. This may be one of the, if not the most normal start we'll really get here. The question becomes now, are we going to get lane swaps? The answer seems to be yes, with Starry and Moham opting towards the top side. Oh,
they just want to. Oh, we're doing another level 1 invade. We've been seeing it every single game here. JDG are a little more aware since it's been happening, but I think it's tough. No flash on this Nocturne means that it's a bit of a difficult ask. Shun will start this up, even getting a Winds of War and an auto attack from Pays. So, I mean, look, Allah's just going to have to use the teleport to get back into that bottom lane. Wants to make sure that he's there for the minions. Oh, he misses 1, so he won't hit level 2 at the same time, but you're playing against Maokai. You don't think you have much threat in the 1v1.
Nope. It's kind of a dream for an Ambessa lane. Gotta think that Allah is pretty happy that he doesn't land in the 2v1, because I feel like that was just such a potent option for OMG. Obviously, that's what they were going for, and they get the summoner out for it, but does allow Allah to not fall too far behind.
This is going to be a big change here. The level 2 here, Missing was able to soak experience. Pays was not, so that's a flash.
What a flash. Brings Moham under the turret, and we talked about the resets. Didn't think they'd come this early for Pays. It's Missing that grabs the first blood and the first step towards another bout at the Feast of Strength.
Fantastic flash from Pays right there. Finds themselves the first kill. And I was just saying, look, Jinx does not have level 2. You're not going to have access to like Flame Chompers or a Zap early on. The 2v2 with Xayah and Leona should have been able to find themselves a kill, but with them going back under the turret, turns into that first blood. We're going to see it right here. I was saying, look, Missing has level 2, Pays does not. But this engage, as soon as this flash puts him under turret, the entire first blood is under jeopardy. And like you said, first blood going over to Missing is a huge find for JDG.
Small things, Pays, just knowing that timer. Leona giveth and she taketh with that Zenith Blade. Scout, getting a bit of attention paid towards them by Moham, as we do see a full reset come out for Starry. Jungle clears, decently mirrored, but Allah's already getting into his bag here up against this Maokai, and Harry really needs to pay a bit more respect here, trying to lean on that natural healing. Does have that level XP advantage still, and Hung is in the area. Oh boy.
Yeah, there is not much for Harry to do in this matchup, and it's not going to get much easier, right? The amount of mobility that someone like the Ambessa has access to with her Drake count steps, and the fact that the ultimate can be very, very dangerous, giving her access to armor penetration is just not fun to play. Or Omnivamp, yeah, it is just so disgusting what is a part of this Champions kit. What we've really gotten from modern game design here in League of Legends, there's just so many free stats in people's kits now. Like, Neela came out and she gets free armor penetration from crit chance, and Bessa gets Omnivamp from how much? It's just, it's insane. The amount of mobility as well.
I miss the 2-sentence ability descriptions.
I don't. Those are
I don't
lame.
actually.
I don't. To be fair.
I don't actually miss them is probably the wrong verbiage. More so like nostalgically look back. You know, we still have some remnants of them. Like on the hunt, that ultimate's still like 4 words. You go fast. If you go fast with getting kill, you go fast for longer.
True. Not wrong. Yeah, I don't know. There's just modern league design, not my forte. I don't have to do that. So.
Not envious at all.
Nope. I'll let Froxen deal with that. The amount of Riot devs that get so much hate on Twitter, just not for me.
It's almost a 2-full job at this point, just like Harry has his hands full in this Mbessa matchup. And it's important to remember for everybody watching at home, especially now that JDG have dropped game number 1 here. Still looking in control early here in game 3. Game 2 was a much cleaner, divisive one. They are playing to virtually lock up a spot in the postseason and make for a very interesting matchup against Weibo.
And
OMG.
it's so interesting to talk about the JDG squad just because of the fact that this feels more like the group of misfit toys that we've kind of started to name them. The fact that Sun makes it to grand finals at Worlds and unfortunately isn't able to take it to T1. He gets second on a BLG roster when JDG was kind of at their height. Same thing with going to MSI versus Genji. So many second places, and so he gets dropped from the roster. Scout on LNG eventually moves on and is now part of a new roster on JDG. Pays from a legendary Genji roster. Not able to do it there as well, so kind of feeling like all these different pieces from different parts of the LPL and parts of the LCK with Pays now finally making their way onto this squad. We should be expecting more, especially for the pedigree of these players. And so seeing them lose a game to OMG is kind of a shocker, and seeing them lose out in Demacia Cup kind of felt like maybe a bad omen. Like, is this what we should be expecting from a lineup of these teams? I don't know.
Has the downfall begun for a lot of these players? There's still a lot of time, and it is very early. We did see that the Grubs were split this time, the first bout, so nobody's a step closer towards feats of strength in the monster slaying department. Do have OMG open to potentially get mites later on. Seeing some pings over towards Shun, who is spotted towards that bot side. Curious if he'll just jump on this first Drake, though. He does have the option with Hung clearing his top side.
Okay, does it work, though? I mean, look. We're talking about early objectives here for JDG. They already have that first blood. We've missed out on the early grubs because it was a split objective take, so feats of strength don't seem like they're going to be as important in this game. They're mostly kind of like a secondary, tertiary objective in most games, but the focus has been, I think, pretty different from team to team. We've seen some of these teams really try to hammer away at making sure you get those boot upgrades, and then you're coming into maybe like a 35-minute fight with tier 3 boots, but aside from that, it's not been, I think, as game-warping.
There's the first Paranoia ball delivery, followed, even though missing flash is over, Cyclone Hero's entrance. Here comes the response to JG. They only get the knockup and the choppers on a Moham, but they can't close the gap, so that big ult combo for OMG is 1 for 1 in this one.
All right, that's what we wanted to see, though. You have this combo with this Nocturne and Orianna. You need to be finding picks. And despite the fact that we saw him lose his flash very early on, it feels good for the time being. Pays has to be careful, has the flash, has to use it now.
Just respecting the feather pullback there from Starry. So both bottom laners for JG going to be without their flash for any potential dragon skirmishes or this next set of grubs. It's going to force Pays to play pretty conservative.
Okay, all right, so we're getting into this. This game's a lot slower. We're not getting like explosive early game from OMG where they're stomping a 2v2 or looking for dives. And now we get a replay of something that happened about a minute and a half ago. Great timing on this Nocturne Ori. No flash from missing might be important as we walk into some of the objectives in 3 minutes time. But I don't know. They also used the Galio ult during all of that, so a lot of resources to simply give over a single kill to OMG, and it does mean that the first dragon here for JDG is going to be the plan. I wonder how many turret plates they're looking to grab from OMG. I mean, you have the Demolish here with Moham, but he's getting nowhere near this turret. Man, if you got this objective, you gotta walk up, guys. You gotta move in.
But nope, minion wave fizzles on out. Hayes survives another wave here. Good perspective over to Moham, and the ult's now available for both Starry and company. And the Jinx just needs to buy time for Pays. JDG, it really is, I feel like the early game being slow really just powers them up a bit more here. They still have to be careful in the mid game with this Nocturne Orianna, but Olo's been able to farm his way up. Pays has been relatively untouched, and if you can get towards, you know, big 2-item power spikes for particularly the 2 champions we already talked about, only down minimal 1,000-ish gold, JDG are going to be in a pretty comfortable spot, especially how we saw them able to synergize their team fighting compared to OMG in that last game.
And what this does mean for JDG is, as long as we can hit 2-3 items on someone like Pays, I think we're in a really great spot. We talked about it from draft that if Hung and Linfeng are not having enough damage, this burst combo is not going to be enough. Again, they have so many tanks in top and support that I think that the damage profile for this team is a bit lacking. It's all about that one great punch to start it off. You cut off someone like Pays, you get rid of a frontliner like maybe Shun or Missing, and then you can start to play from a numbers advantage and kind of play off of cooldowns. But if they don't reach that breakpoint, if they're not able to find a first kill, you're diving straight into a Wukong, straight into a Jinx that should be looking to kind of find those resets and get more kills. So it's going to be 3 grubs here for OMG. As long, again, as JDG can get one of these, it's good for them, but they're pincing.
Shun's going in. Oh, wow. Both junglers pass by each other like ships in the night, but it's going to serve Pays up on a silver platter. Missing goes down as well. Now JDG are on the retreat, but here come the twisted advanced nature's grasp, and it's a flash forward for Harry, trying to see how many more kills he can get his carries. Scout going to channel the hero's entrance, somehow get it off, dashing back over towards Ala, as Jun is able to get back under the turret. So JDG, boy, do they make it cost a lot, but they deny 3 grubs over to OMG.
Ala TP'd for that play and still has the public execution. Why are we not going for the backline? I want to take a look at that replay again just because we focus so much of it. Starry walks forward into Scout. Doesn't have the blade caller. One more!
Doesn't matter.
That's, hey, look, Scout, you got all this MR. You do 0 anything to stop Starry from ripping you apart with these feathers. Great find from OMG. And another great fight in all coming out from this squad as JDG, we talked about how slow they are, the Sleeping Giant. I want to look at this fight. So, like you had noticed, the junglers moving straight past each other. Shun putting focus onto at least stealing one of these grubs, and Hung finding Pays before this. But after that, the rest of JDG are kind of in bad shape. I was maybe looking for someone like Ala to get in this backline, but he's playing this game remarkably kind of cowardly almost. Like, you're playing Mbessa. Get into the backline. There is no ultimates from any of these champions. You should feel empowered with a Galio in your pocket to do something, but doesn't look for it.
And that's just another instance of a bit of disrespect from JDG's players towards some of these damage dealers from OMG. Starry gets a free kill, and it's important to remember, as much as we hype up the Jinx and the resets and her being kind of the queen of team fights in League of Legends, Xayah can certainly go toe-to-toe, and with enough space granted, get some pretty big blade callers that could mess up JDG. But one of the points you were making before that fight kicked off that I think is important to track is, as this game goes on, I think this Orianna Nocturne combo, they're going to be kind of pigeonholed into only going for Pays.
Yep.
Because it's just not reliable enough to ult a Wukong with a couple of bruiser items. Definitely not Mbessa, and certainly not a tank Galio.
That's what I was saying, right? Is like, you are so basic in your composition and what it wants to do that you cannot be behind at any point. If you do fall behind, you're already super predictable, so you're kind of now you're out of luck. You're like, okay, well, they know that I'm going for Pays. They know that I can't kill him either, so what do we do in this game? We gotta get a little silly and find some guerrilla tactics to get back into this game. We got Dragon spawning in a little bit here already. OMG first to the play, already getting mid-priority and moving over towards this Dragon. Not going to be setting up for any feats of strength here, as, again, they were able to grab the first set of grubs, but aside from that, or they weren't able to grab the full set of grubs on that first take, so it's just going to mean that, yeah, we're kind of moving, it's too late. Okay, well, we've seen enough of that ultimate kind of take too many objectives. We're looking at Herald spawning in a minute and a half. Maybe that's something for them, and again, we said this last game, but 4 grubs and a Herald, I think OMG should be prioritizing to move for this objective.
Big legendary items coming through for OMG to play in this window that they need to be very active. Experimental Hexplate done, so Hung can get as many of those paranoias out as possible. Luden's done for Linfeng. That's the main burst damage that they need. And you don't have to deal with too tanky of a Wukong just yet. Still think Shun and Ola are targets you can go for with this combo, but the entire point of Orianna Nocturne is you're trying to look for this combo as often as the ultimates are honestly up for you to do it.
Okay, I'm looking at item completions now. Everybody has their legendary item. Harry just finished.
Here we go.
We're finding Pays.
Do not have the Orianna for the extra damage. Shun's going to fly in with a Cyclone. Pays doesn't have either summoner by this point, and Hug's going to get the kill. Starry flashing forward. Maybe a little ill-advised. Wasn't needed. But another pick found on the Pays. Back-to-back for OMG.
Starry walked into the Wukong Cyclone, so he's like, oh, crap, I actually have to flash for this kill. We're not going to find Pays. Flash cleanse down for the 80 carry of JDG. And there's no real objective. I mean, yes, the Herald is spawning, but now OMG, they're on a recall timer. There's no flash from their 80 carry. They no longer have the Nocturne ultimate. Even with the experimental Hexplate, it's still going to take a little bit before this objective or this cooldown is back up. Linfeng takes the top tier 1. We're TPing for this play. As long as he gets out, I think that what OMG can do now is sit around this objective, force the side of JDG away from the Herald. I mean, Harry even has priority from the bottom lane, right? He's pushed in this wave. All has to either drop this wave and teleport or just move on over. Yeah, they're not going to even go for this. I think OMG may have pulled the trigger a little too soon.
The power of lacking a paranoia play here just makes Hung very easily not capable of making these plays. Man, Pays has just put in a hurt locker this game. Scout, though, is going all out to try and trade out Starry, but this is Tank Galley who doesn't have the damage, so Shun brings it in. And this time, Pays' death shouldn't cost JDG too much, but Ola on the back end didn't even get the Rift Herald. Hug picked it up as well.
Like, Ola TP'd into 3 members of OMG, and while Pays and Starry are being taken down, Ola is like, hey, Harry, I saw what you did last game. Freebie, brother. I got you. Here you go. All right, let's check this replay. So this is Pays getting, okay, yeah, Harry just walks in with Maokai ultimate. They find this. Great use of the ultimate to be very aggressive from the side of Starry, and while Scout, look at this, the objective is already gone. Ola's TPing into everybody, and he's just like, all right, well, guys, I'm a little dead here.
You know how I just said that Nocturne becomes a lot less useful when he doesn't have paranoia up? You know what solves that problem? TPing in front of him.
True. That was not Pays' fault. I know we as 2 80 carry members on the broadcast can kind of, we will protect him from criticism from the show. Sorry, everybody. Our 80 carries are very sacred.
Deal with
it. Yeah, Pays is just getting kind of owned this game. Like, they got the level 1, but everything after that has been exactly to OMG's game plan. Find Pays, take him out, force his summoner spells, and put JDG in a bit of an uncomfortable position. They're also really, I think, applying great pressure onto the side lanes with these 4 grubs, and with Otacon spawning in a minute and a half, Dragon in 1, you still have this Herald with these 4 grubs. I want to see them play for a turret, turn that into gold, finish your second items on either Linfeng or Starry, and come into a fight with a really big objective lead.
And for OMG, you grab the Dragon or you grab Otacon. Gets you feats of strength for another game in this series, as they have that slight advantage after being the ones to grab up the Herald. The thing that is important to watch for as this game goes on, even with FaZe locked up in ult combo jail, is do OMG have enough power and presence on the map to push this over to a game win? Because at this current point, it doesn't feel like enough, so maybe a Rift Herald breaking down the mid-tier 1 will add a bit of extra insurance. Certainly does in the gold department as the lead balloons to nearly 4,000.
My eyes are on Linfeng right now. He has 2 items, and for a rookie mid laner here, being brought up through the OMG system, I think this is an incredibly exciting prospect, especially for them. And when you talk about like rewarding players for being part of your pipeline and them being able to show some of that dedication back, he didn't have a great time playing for their system. I mean, their team did not get any particularly great standings, but I mean, if you're able to show up against JDG, that's a big win.
Whoa, Missing and Shun are going in very hastily with the Galley ultimate, but that's a huge shockwave. Linfeng, as you called out, has the big play, but doesn't result in kills. They got Ola to deal with in the backline, dashing in and out, cooldown reset after reset. The power of Arcane is in the hands of Ola, and they're trying to hunt down the rest of OMG who are scattered to the wayside. FaZe steps up with not enough damage, and it ends up being a dead even split fight.
Wait, I think we have our first Ruinous Otacon here. We finally had enough damage in the early game. Maybe I'm just getting baited by the icon, but baited. Usually it's the orange one. FaZe, they're trying to find whatever last kills they can. Too much of that damage. We said that the identity for this OMG comp is to play around fighting against FaZe. But all of that damage went down onto Shun, went down onto Missing. And as we take a look at this replay, they pull the trigger onto Missing, who, I'll be honest, he has not been having a great series so far, but all of the damage is no longer available onto someone like, I mean, yeah, FaZe, he's out of this fight, and the rest of the damage from OMG, their front line is not there to be able to buy time and build out space for the carries. And JDG finally find a huge fight win back into the game.
My sweet Alkai, I have an important update for you.
All right.
I like where the head's at. It's just the threshold right now for Voracious.
Man. We haven't seen it. No Pro League right now, including LEC, unfortunately, has gotten the Ruinous Otacon. We've had games where there's like 18 kills plus in the early game, and it's still Voracious. I'm like, okay, guys, come on.
A little early there, FaZe. Second game in a row, by the way, where Otacon could decide the feats of strength. Shun, that's way too early to fly in with the Cyclone. And there's Ruinous Otacon. Now OMG, why not keep fighting? You just got revives on top of revives. There they all go back to their base. Scout's going to try and clean up the last bit of them, so at least JDG are going to make sure the revive doesn't grant a ton of power over to OMG, but that's a huge amount of gold that you nerf from JDG grabbing back.
Yeah, I'm going to say, even though they grabbed the Otacon, that is a win for JDG. You did not lose all that much, maybe just the teleport from Scout, but that is, I think, a massive win for them. Like you were saying, Shun, just a little too early. Look at who's nearby. Only Allah with this Mbessa. That cannot be the correct play, but they get a lot of great tools out from their opponents, specifically now Starry no longer having that ultimate is going to be a big ticket win for JDG.
OMG do silver, I'm not calling it silver lining. An extra bonus on the back end. They have feats of strength again, so they grab that off the Otacon as well. Get a bit extra buff for all of their boots and to buff up what their gold lead currently looks like. But the clock is still ticking. The Wukong is going to get tankier. The same going to be said for Ola as he scales into this Bruiser. So the time to capitalize on Nocturne Orianna, the window continues to wane.
And I will kind of want to note for everybody at home, typically boot upgrades are really fake. They are, you think about how much the boots are going to cost, then you're paying for an additional $750. Typically the bonus that you get or the active that they have is not particularly impactful, but I think in a game for JDG where they don't have a lot of magic damage and they are so physical damage reliant, I think the Plated Steel Caps upgrade, getting a Camille passive HP shield based on physical damage every 15 seconds is a massive game winner for their tanks. So that could potentially be one of the ways you kind of combat some of those souls. It's similar to having like a mountain soul versus a team like this. It's like, well, we don't have the damage, but we are tanky enough that your Jinx does not survive long enough to actually kill us. So something to think about as we get further into this game. Another dragon going over to the side of OMG, and Baron is spawning in a minute. I expect this is really where either of these teams are going to make or break the game. OMG, they have a minor gold advantage. They do have the grubs, and if they can grab the Baron, I'm looking for this team to close out on a second victory against JDG.
Timer has begun. Definitely slow pace of dragons. We have seen that just across the board with the fact that there's extra epic monsters to play for. Cloud Soul definitely put some frowny faces on all of these players. So I think Soul, once again, like you kind of pointed out last game, not going to be as relevant. What is relevant is some of these item breakpoints. We're not yet at the Giga Chad Jinx that can really run some of these fights. We have, especially with the heal cut option, Pays is, it's going to take a while till this IE kicks in, so you're not too afraid of Pays just yet. And then like you called out, the rest of the damage is very low range reliant and reliant on getting through those plated steel caps, man. Oh, come on, guys. It's one red buff. Can we...
Guys, all right. It's the global red buff, everybody. We don't have to be putting all 5 members. It's not Moham. We do not have to be trying to put all this damage down, but they finally get it. Global red buff going over to JDG. And for the time being, I think it's going to be them posturing around this top side, waiting for Scout to have his teleport back, because once that's up and available, he should be able to match any play that happens on this top side of the map. And really what I want to see from JDG is how they're playing around Fog of War with this Galio. He should be looking to catch waves on bottom side, go into Fog of War on this side of the map, and really make sure that there's no one crossing along the river. And if he really needs the match, you do have the hero's entrance. But I think for JDG, you want to wait to level 16s for your solo laners here. I mean, Scout is about a third of the way through his level 15. Alla's probably going to have to pick up a few more waves before we even get close to level 16. But rank 3 in some of these ultimates is a pretty big game changer.
Not too far away for Linfeng as well. OMG using their wave control mid lane to set up around this Baron. Scout does have that TP up like you called out. Also can catch this bottom wave, try and threaten that last tier 1 turret still standing on the map. Just take that freebie away. OMG with a bit of a window though to maybe look to punish JDG if they decide to get a little bit undisciplined, trying to create vision in their own jungle.
Okay, mid priority. They have the mid tier 1, so it's a lot easier for OMG to walk in, clear the wave. Scout has taken a turret on the opposite side and is applying a little bit of pressure here from the side of JDG. As long as they can play on these side lanes and kind of force OMG. OMG feel hesitant. They want to try to catch out Pays on a ward and turn off of this Baron. I don't think they want to try to get into a smite fight versus Jinx and Wukong.
Be a dangerous one. Really start to sense the tension building on the rift here for both squads. JDG needing to start playing towards their team comp strengths. Remember, they are so favored. They were so favored in this matchup, and it's been anything but that. So, ton of pressure on that side for OMG. This comp needs to continue bearing fruit in these next crucial minutes. With this Nocturne Orianna combo, you can see them trying to set up for it, but they're going for the tank Galio. Is this the target? It's 1 versus 3 for now, but Shun is close by. Scout took virtually no damage, and that's the Nocturne Orianna ult down.
Also, Linfeng just straight up missed the ultimate. So those are 2 tools they will no longer have available, probably for the next minute. Already we're seeing those ultimates really start to burn through their cooldowns. Remember, Hung has access to a lot of ability haste here, not only with the Sterix gauge, but now with this experimental Hexplate. It's already halfway up on cooldown. Linfeng's the only one that's kind of going to be waiting for his to be up. Teleport coming in from Scout. They want to take control of the top side of the map, maybe get a summoner spell more, or look for an objective around this Baron.
Or maybe just kind of force the issue. The real igniter for this comp for OMG is now down for another maybe 25, 20-ish seconds. So JDG now can potentially play aggressive with Shun. Oh, Linfeng's damage. That might be enough on its own. One basic Orianna combo to surrender OMG control back over of this Baron pit, and maybe a tier 2 on the way out.
Yeah, I was going to say, they had great control of kind of bodying them out of the mid wave. They enter through the top side. JDG have to make an exit through the top side. and that means mid-tier 2 falls. Dragon is spawning, but I just don't think we're going to be seeing any kind of souls, at least for now in this game. JDG are rushing back to the Baron, and now ultimate is back up for Linfeng. Hung's ultimate has also come back, and this Baron is gone.
Solar Flare, gonna keep everyone away. Baron secured by OMG. And Scout can't find any big taunts here. Missing is desperately looking for an angle in. Shun had to use the clone to get over the wall, and yeah, the Baron that was so pivotal for this game quietly goes to OMG with not much of a murmur.
Linfeng should be able to teleport back if he really wants to be here. Harry won't be able to do the same. That was a great ultimate coming in from Hung, because it actually stops Missing from utilizing his ultimate and trying to start up a pick for his team. JDG are going to move over for a consolation prize of a dragon here, and we are so far from a soul. At the very least, it's going to be 10 minutes for either team after this take. But Baron, 4 grubs, now they need to be playing on side lanes. Ping's coming out all over the top side of the map from OMG. They want to make sure that they're protecting Hung. Level 16 is on the horizon here for them, so 3 points into either Hung and Linfeng's ultimates. I think that this is going to be a massive combo. And now we're on the precipice here. Slayer, there's a very real possibility that OMG are going to be taking JDG to match point.
And blowing up what seemed to be a near surefire decided Group B. We talked about the caster predictions for this series. Loyal viewers of the LPL unofficial English broadcast know the content creator predictions for this Group B. And it's been anything but that now, thanks to OMG. Harry gets a bit hounded on the side, but he's going to turn with the Orianna Nocturne combination. Right now, it's got more than enough damage to deal with Shun. Down he goes. Missing falls next. Could this just be the killing blow now? All of the engaged tools for JDG are down.
And it was all eyes. Can we find Pays? Can we find the AD carry of JDG? But they say, look, we made an engage onto Shun and Missing before. It didn't quite work out, but we're 5,000 gold. Let's see if we can maybe flip our fortunes here as OMG Scout flashes forward.
Ola going into the background onto Starry, but he gets the feather pull back. The roots come across.
That's one reset.
Pays gets one reset though, thanks to the Nexus turrets. We were waiting for this Jinx to finally erupt, and this might have been the moment in the midnight witching hour for Pays and JDG to maybe save themselves in the game and the series.
But the base is in complete tatters. It is 2 inhibitors down, a Nexus turret that is almost down and ready to go. But Pays makes the defense happen, and OMG are not able to end, at least on this one. Great war to spot out Shun on this play, and it's just a turn straight onto Harry. He's not able to kind of find a spot. This is actually the start of the play. They make this huge turn, and look at how much damage this Orianna Shockwave does alongside Hung. Moham with the ult of a lifetime there, just really kind of showing off and making sure that no one actually from JDG saw that ultimate. So I don't know if they know that Leona ult is not up.
They might not. They straight up might not.
They're like, damn, why did Moham ult us there? Like, just not have the... I don't know.
Ola surviving in the middle of both damage dealers for all that time, once again, is what really gets the space bot. We saw it in Game 2 with the Renekton. You don't get that Pays reset if Ola doesn't demand all that attention.
Ola has, so far in the series, I think been kind of a, for my MMO players, he has been a great tank. He is one of the off tanks. You know, if you're playing something like Final Fantasy 14, think of like the Gunzerker tanks. You're thinking of all of the Dark Knights as well. They just have so much aggro that he's pulling from his opponents that you are taking away some of the DPS from OMG, but it's not quite enough. He needs to be, you need to be able to, if you're a tank, you need to do 2 things. Either you have to have enough damage to kind of say, okay, look, as a damage dealer from the opponents, you have to be able to take me down or stop me from killing your backline. Or you need to be someone like Scout, who is so resilient, so tanky, and has so much crowd control that he actually stops your backline from doing anything. So Maokai ult is here, setting up for
Missing just sends himself into his own demise with one dredge line. That's going to grant this turn for free to OMG, and now they can threaten a potential killer triple inhibitor take. But Jun, he's looking for the big cyclone. He goes to the background, the public execution as well. They get towards the carries, but a great stasis from Loleventvods. Shockwaves to the face of Scout. Pace gets his reset. Here comes All Out. JDG's turn. Can they get it this time? Sure damn can. Gets the taunts, gets the damage. They survive at their base once more.
Another setup from JDG means that they cannot lose the fight, cannot lose the game yet here at 24 minutes. Scout with a triple kill in that last fight, and it is all about the tanks here. Missing, he hasn't had the best game, but he is delaying the amount of damage, and this was another combo that we did not see from Hung and from Loleventvods. After your ultimates are down, you cannot walk up here. Great find from Chun. And the Mbessa, the public execution, comes up huge. Look at how much crowd control. Look where Starry is. He's just hitting this front line and doing no damage all of this fight.
And Pays once again survives the targeted attack on him. Moham desperately just jumping on top of him under the turret to buy time before the resets can come through. But like you talked about, the tanks, the bruisers, gaslighting his tanks right now for JDG are making the difference. And now we're at the point where Pays his 4 items, has a GA to survive that initial burst. How reliable does Hung and Loleventvods and Nocturne Orianna really become at this stage of the game?
Allah's also completed a GA. We're getting the start on the second Baron here. Dragon is up, but we're so far away from a soul. Half HP, already almost down. What can JDG do?
Jun may be looking to get them on the exit here. They're teleporting behind. It's Scout. Lights go out. Scout's all alone, 1 versus 4. But the same can be said as well for Harry. Gonna dash on top of Pays. Pays flashes over the wall. It's such a split fight. Scout on the other side has the big hero's entrance. Shun's gonna fall. Starry's able to limp away, but he's scattered to the wayside, deserted on his own. And Pays is allowed to free farm champions like they're minions at level 1. Zap steps up. Good dodge from Harry. The slows come across. And now JDG are running out of gas. They can't cut down these angles. All of these carries and tanks for OMG survive. They keep Baron on 4.
There we go. It's only Moham who falls in that fight, and a great exit. Massive damage coming in from Starry, and maybe those tier 3 boots coming in clutch for this Xayah. The Gunmetal Greaves, that tier 3 upgrade, giving you a miniature phage passive, getting movement speed when you attack enemy champions. Maybe have made the difference for Starry to get away and still deal damage against Sun. I want to watch Starry in that last fight because he dodges all of the crowd control from JDG, at least from what I was seeing. We've got the Baron on 4 grubs. Slayer, this game feels like it is not going to end. The immovable object versus the unstoppable force.
They got Pays! They found the diamond in the rough! OMG, they have the Baron on 4. Without Jinx, can JDG even hold this base? We might be going towards OMG match point when no one expected it.
There's no minion wave here, so all they can grab are inhibitors, and that's about it. They've got 1 singular cannon minion and another wave that's about 15 seconds away from JDG's base. Remember, 4 grubs, Baron buff. Minute and 15 before that buff is gone, they should be looking to siege, and right now what we're seeing is, while they can't clear the wave, they got a hell of a lot of tanks.
Allah's going in, trying to use the hero's entrance, but Starry stays safe. That GA is going to mean absolutely nothing for JDG. Jun trying to use the clone to get back, but Starry turns and uses the blade collar. It's been imagined, and now it's reality. OMG bounce back from game 2 and force JDG to series point.
Oh my God. OMG have done